Welcome to the GenX Pole Arts podcast, Fit, Fierce, and Fearless. I am Zen, also known as Nancy Adzentoivich, the founder of GenX Pole Arts. I am happy to be launching this podcast where we are going to be celebrating the strength, resilience, and potential of women over 40 in the vibrant world of pole dance. I'm excited to embark on this empowering journey with you guys. And each week, we will connect with inspiring women who are redefining what it means to thrive in their 40s and beyond. From incredible stories of personal transformation to tips on building strength and confidence, we'll explore the boundless possibilities that pole dancing offers for self-expression and empowerment. Whether you're a seasoned dancer or just curious about the journey, there's a place for you here. So grab a cup of coffee, a sparkling water, whatever turns you on, and get comfortable. Let's celebrate the incredible power of women who are embracing their passions and pushing boundaries at every age. All right, now let's dive into today's episode. Welcome to episode 37 of Fit, Fierce, and Fearless. I am Zen. You guys know me by now, I should hope. And as promised, I have another amazing guest for you today. I may have dropped a little hint that this person is a world champion in the masters category. So that means over 40, y'all. And I met Kristina at the Comedy Pole Show. And if you remember the episode with Kristina Kalf, who's the brilliant creative genius behind Comedy Pole Show, she put together the last show, which was based on Harry Potter, and it was Hogwarts Gets Darker and Hogwarts After Dark. And Kristina played Lady Draco brilliantly. It was so funny, you guys. You got to go on Instagram. You can see videos of the performance. There's plenty of stills as well. I was moaning Myrtle, as I think I've mentioned in another episode, but we had a great time. And I didn't realize that Kristina, well, I knew you from Instagram. I knew you were a world champion, you and Pragan, for some reason. I'm like a fangirl of you guys. I just think the creativity there and the strength is amazing. And you went beyond PSO, which I've talked about PSO a ton on this podcast. So Pole Sport Organization. And you went into, I feel like the competition that you won, I hate to say this, and I'm sorry if Amy or anyone from PSO might be listening, but I feel like it's more legit.
So
It's harder. It's more rigorous, maybe.
I think I don't know if PSO does international, but yeah, I compete for POSA, POSA, and I think in the US it's USPSF.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to diss on PSO. I love PSO, but PSO has the regionals and then the national. This is a much bigger competition. And I feel like, yeah, maybe a little more prestigious. Not to diss my own PSO medals. I'm super proud of them. But anyhow, I want to welcome you, Kristina. I know you had to move your schedule around to be here, and it wasn't necessarily the easiest thing, but I'm happy you're here. I'm excited to get to know you a little more than just what small amount of conversation we exchanged backstage. So thank you. And I don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself if you want to. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, thank you for having me. So I'm from Tucson, and I've been competing in various types of pole competition since about 2017. So I've done some PSOs. I've competed for POSA / USPSF a few times since then, several times really. So I do really enjoy competing. In my regular day-to-day job, I am a scientist and I work in research and development.
I love that. I feel like, so I know other scientists who are polars. I know engineers who are polars. physicians as well. And I think that there's analysts, like people who work in analytics, like data
Mm.
and analytics. And I did that for a long time in digital media analytics. And I think there's something about using the right brain, left brain thing, when we're so in our brains all day at work trying to figure out problems and answer big questions. And then we get on the pole and we get to be so in our bodies. And it helps connect different parts of our brain and brings us back to ourselves, I think, in some way, which I don't know, I'm not a scientist. I'm just making this up. But to me, it sounds kind of logical. As humans, we need both. So I think that's really cool that you do that.
Yeah, I would actually say that I think I do my best thinking when I'm not at work. It's usually
Mm,
I leave work, I'm biking home, I'm on a run. And a lot of the times I think it is like, I don't know, just doing something physical. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, I figured it
yeah.
out. But I'm like, off on a bike path somewhere.
Yeah, I think that's true. I used to run, I used to swim. I grew up being a swimmer. And then in my 20s, I started running, doing 5Ks, half marathons. I did a couple of marathons, and then I got into triathlon in my 30s, I guess, late 30s, 40s. Um, and I agree, the same thing. I think when your brain gets that moment when it can just kind of space out because you're
Mm-hmm.
doing that repetitive physical thing like biking or running or swimming, all of a sudden things pop and you're like, oh, that's
Yep.
it.
Yep. It's happened a lot.
Yeah. So I think that's a good case for taking breaks from work.
Yes.
When all you do is work, it's like you
Yeah.
keep hitting a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Go for a
Yep.
walk. So when did you start polling?
So I remember it was July, and it was July 2012. So a little over
Wow.
13 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yep.
I love
I,
it. You were like an OG. I mean, now
yeah.
it's become so popular. I say that still when I tell people what I do and that I have, this GenX Pole Arts, people are like, wow, I never met anybody who did pole dancing. I'm like, really? I just feel like it's everywhere now. But in
Hmm.
2012, 2013, I mean, nobody
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
small. So how'd you find it? Was there a studio near you? Did you get a pole at home?
So I had done yoga for a long time, and I'd been
Uh-huh.
biking, and I did some marathons back then too. And I was just in the kitchen one day and I could not open a jar. And I was
Okay.
so annoyed because I do all this exercise and I thought of myself as like a healthy, strong person. And I eventually did get it open, but it was seriously like the hardest jar I have ever opened in my life. And I'm like, I need to do something that like works your hand strength.
Mm,
And a friend at work had mentioned she took a pole class. And I'm like,
okay.
sure, why not? And so I think at the time there was one studio. I don't believe there were two yet, but there was one studio in Tucson. And so I signed up and went. And I fell in love instantly. I was so
Uh-huh.
sore.
Oh, yeah.
I was sore for 6 days.
It's funny how vividly that
Mhm.
memory is, or how easily you can recall that memory, right? Like in
Oh
vivid
yeah.
detail. I know, I think so many people who I've spoken with say the same thing. Like they remember the day, the date, like you said, the month.
Yeah.
They remember like what they were wearing and how awful they felt afterwards, but how they also couldn't wait to go back. It's like, what is
Yes.
wrong with us?
Yeah. I went with a friend. She never went back.
Oh, okay.
But I
That's
was just
cool.
like, yes, this is for me.
Uh-huh. Oh, I love it. So, okay, which studio was it? Even if you
So,
wanna say.
oh, sure. So yeah, back then it was called Tucson Pole Fitness.
Uh-huh.
It's changed owners, it's been acquired. I think it's changed names a few times. I think for a while it was under Center Stage, but now it is part of Vertica.
Okay. Awesome. Shout out to Vertica.
Mhm.
We do I'm happy to bring other studios to light on the podcast as well. And people do listen from all over the place too. So if you're in the Tucson area and you're looking for a place to start your pole journey, there you go. You can look for Kristina. Well, that's really cool. So you've been doing it. for 13 years. Did you say 13 years? Wow. Okay. And what kind of arc did your pole journey take? Like, did you take breaks? Did you start competing right away?
So I originally just joined just for fitness, just because I
Uh-huh.
wanted to get some upper body strength. I didn't even know there were competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at the time I was still running marathons, and I'm not like a great marathon runner. I was pretty much just racing against myself
Oh,
and for like my own mental health. And
yeah.
but I really enjoyed just, I don't know. I think you can surprise yourself how quickly you can learn things at pole. And
Yeah.
so for a long time you're just like, wow, I didn't think I could do that. So it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
now I can. Oh, that's so cool. And so I just got sucked in. And then I think they started having showcases within,
Uh-huh.
like, pretty soon after I started. And I'm like, oh, that's so scary. I don't know if I can do that. But then I'm like, all right, I got to do it. I got to like challenge myself and do it. So I did a group routine. A couple years later, I did some solos. Um, it was interesting too because the old studio, which the site no longer exists. They actually tore it down in the last 2 years maybe. Um, we had 9-foot poles, so
Okay.
it was short.
Yeah.
And it was just a great community, and working with people, working with instructors, working with just people from all over Tucson. And like you were mentioning, people with all different types of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day I was like, you know what? I see they have competitions. I've competed in a lot of things in my life. Like, let's try it out. And so I went to PSO, and I'd never even seen PSO before.
Yeah.
So that I didn't quite get last, but
Okay. There you
it was a
go.
big learning experience. And yeah, and then I got hooked because I was like, oh, I
Uh-huh.
really like competing.
How many competitions have you done? Do you know?
So I've done 3 PSOs, and then I've done, oh lordy, okay, I don't know, maybe
Okay.
eight competitions or so
Yeah.
for USPSF slash POSA. Yeah, I've done nationals several times. I've competed internationally twice. Um, they used to have a regionals. They used to have like I think they still do. They have an online
Uh-huh.
virtual, like, I don't know if they call it, I don't remember what they call it anymore, but they do have a virtual component
Mhm.
earlier in the year.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a lot of competition. But I get it. I mean, I feel like we came sort of from a similar place to pole because I was the same. I didn't know there were competitions either, and I was polling for about a year, and one of my instructors messaged me and she said, "Will you compete?" And I said, "In what?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, there's a competition." And this was right after COVID. So it was the
Mm.
first PSO back after COVID was my first
Oh.
competition. Yeah. So not quite as long ago. Um, but it was the same thing. I didn't know what I was getting into. I'd never seen it, never heard of it. And there hadn't been one for like a year and a half because of COVID. They only did the virtual ones during that
Right.
time.
Hmm.
So I was like, luckily I was on day two. So I've volunteered to be a pole cleaner on day one. And I got to go to the theater and be on the stage and be backstage. And I saw those tall poles and I was like, oh wow, oh my God. And all the lights and the like a theater with actual theater seats. And I was like, what did I get myself into?
Yeah.
I had a great time though, and I keep going back. But yeah, I didn't know. And I had always competed as a runner, as a swimmer, and
Mhm.
same. I was never a good or fast runner. I was like at my best, I was like maybe just under an 8-minute mile runner, like not nobody would ever mistake me for fast. But I did it because it helped my mental health. It gave me something
Mhm.
to work towards. It kept me motivated to do my workouts. And I always was trying to better myself. Same with swimming. I always wanted to beat my own time.
Mhm.
So I wasn't afraid of the competition part of it. It was more like am I good enough at pole to even be here? Like, I don't care that someone's judging me. I don't care that, there's other competitors. It was more like, did I feel like inside, like I was prepared for it? So
Yeah.
anyway, that's
it,
all
it
history now. Cause I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh yeah, it's just such a for me it was such a shock too, and just like
Yeah.
how hot the lights were when I
Oh
went
yeah.
out, and I definitely did not have good strategy, so I put in like all the hardest things I could do so I could.
Right.
Yeah, it was a big learning experience,
That's
but I was
so
happy I
funny.
did it.
Yeah, of course. It got you where you are now.
Mhm.
So okay, fast forward to so was it the Lady Draco routine that won, or was it something else? Or was that?
Oh, so
Yeah, let's hear it.
that oh, that's an interesting question. So they have
Okay.
very different rules,
Yeah.
and so the Draco routine was actually a showcase routine.
Okay.
And I got annoyed because no one got good video of it. And I was like, well, I know PSO has good videographers, so I'll
Uh-huh.
just revamp it and take it there. So my whole purpose in doing that was just to get a good video.
That's
But
really freaking funny.
yeah, but it has too many props
Mm-hmm.
and not enough tricks.
Yeah.
So for POSA, I think they only have two categories. They have art and sport,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to compete in sport.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I either need all the rules, which is sport. I mean, I don't know. There's some like 50 pages of just rules and directions, and then
Mm-hmm.
there's like 150 pages of here are the moves you can choose from.
I love that though.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I compete in the competitive category, so I have to pick 10 moves. There's got to be flexibility, dynamic, strength, etc., and you can't have props at
Okay.
all. And you have to the clothing restriction is it's very specific about what you can and can't wear.
Mm-hmm.
So it was I like to call it the haunted radio routine. Is the one that won. Um, but yeah, and so I couldn't do anything too crazy with my outfit, just like a cool fabric with some broken hearts and just
Yes.
pretty like a halter and regular pole shorts.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very strict. You can't have like tassels or
Mm.
fringe of any kind hanging off of you. Nothing can fall off.
Okay.
Um, so it's very strict because it's one of the competitions that's trying to get into the Olympics.
Yeah.
So I think us and IPSF, is that the other one? I think
Uh-huh.
they're both
International. Yeah.
trying to become an Olympic sport. And I think in order to do that, they have to be very strict.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. PSO is more about, well, not only, but they have all the entertainment categories where you can
Yes.
play and make characters, etc.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which I think
Very
is
fun.
why when I said it's more legit or more rigorous, that's what I mean. Like it's more the technical sport side of it versus PSO, which is more like a performance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's all performance, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean.
There is also an art category, and
Okay.
that has fewer rules.
Hmm.
Well, it still has a lot of rules, but it has a little bit more leeway, and you can do props. And actually, I think they allow video, like to project while you're
Oh,
competing. But
yeah.
yeah, I tend to do sport for POSA.
Okay. Yeah. I love it. And can you tell us what POSA stands for?
Oh man, is it? It's something like
So,
pole sport and aerial, something like
uh-huh.
that. But I'm not sure what country it is based in. I know there's a lot of competitors from Italy and Hungary, actually.
Yeah. I feel like it has something to do with Italy.
I think so,
I
but
think so.
I feel bad. But like every time I've gone, well, the two times I've gone internationally, Italy and Hungary have had huge teams.
Yeah. Okay. So for everybody listening, I will put a link in the show notes so that we can be correct and you can see exactly what we're
Yes.
talking about, because I don't want to disrespect the organization in any way
Yes.
and give you wrong information here. So apologies. I should have looked it up before I got on here.
Me too.
Oh well, it's okay. Um, so you've been competing for years. Now that you're competing in masters, did you start in the seniors category?
Yes.
Okay.
The was it called seniors?
Or
Yeah,
junior?
the seniors category for POSA is 18 to 39.
Okay.
And then if you're in your 40s, you could compete in that category too. Like
Mhm.
if you wanted to, you could still compete in that category. But they have a 40 plus masters and a 50 plus masters. And
Okay.
the difference in them is the allowance of how difficult your moves are.
Okay.
So if you're in the seniors category, you can't claim less than, I believe it's a 0.3. So they have difficulty from 0.1, 0.2 all the way to 1.0,
Mhm.
and they won't allow you to claim underneath a 0.3. And then it's different by age group what you're
Got
allowed
it.
to claim.
Got it. Okay, interesting. They're gonna have to add a 60 plus soon because
I
us
know.
older pollers are getting close to that age. It's like, oh my
Yes.
gosh. I can't even believe it to say that, but yeah, it's happening. And then you look at like Mary Carroll, who
Hmm.
did the comedy poll show with us, and she's in her 70s, and the tricks that she's doing, I'm like, what?
For sure.
What am I really seeing this right now? Yeah, she does things I don't even do. But
Same.
I'm also still working on, my trick game. I saw one of your videos on your Instagram. It was like an iguana twisted
Oh.
drop or something. And you did it from high on the pole. I love iguana. Like I'm a person who really enjoys that one. Some people like keep away from it like the plague, right? But I'm like, oh yeah, I'm upper body strong. Like for me that feels good, and in my flexibility, my limited flexibility, that
Mhm.
works for me. But when I saw you, cuz first you just did like a pencil iguana, I think. You had your
Mm.
legs straight up the pole, and you had to be 11 or 12 feet up that pole. Your head just right down. I was like, wow. And then when you dropped at first, I think I gasped because I didn't know, I didn't read the caption first, so I didn't know what it was you were doing. I just watched the video and I was like, and I was like, that was so fucking cool.
Well,
She's
I'm
fearless. What? Holy cow. That's amazing.
well, I'm pretty tall, so that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons I have to do it high.
Yes. After I saw the drop, then I realized, oh, that's why it started way
Yeah.
up there. You can't start it
Yeah.
close to the ground. But but
No.
I didn't, like I said, I didn't prep myself. I just watched it. I was like, what is happening here?
I
But
haven't put that one into competition yet. That one's still like, yeah.
amazing.
But I
Um,
did learn it because it is one of the moves you can claim in the competition.
very cool. I
Mhm.
love the idea of having a list of rules. I mean, no, sorry, a list of moves and tricks that are permissible
Mhm.
for each level, because that's one thing I feel like is missing from the regional competitions. I was just speaking with
Mhm.
another instructor this past weekend at PSO about this, that it would just seem to be more even or fair in terms of judging people if people were being judged on the same set of tricks versus the way it is now. Some people sandbag, unfortunately, and they'll compete in a level below what they're really capable of. Other people are using it as a motivator to reach higher than maybe where they're at. So you get people
Oh
at
yeah.
very, very different capability levels competing in the same category and the same level, and then the tricks they're choosing are very different. They're extremes, and there isn't really, other than 2 points of contact or 3 points of contact on the pole, that's pretty much it. It's pretty loosey goosey. So, you could be in level 3 or 4 competing against somebody who should really be in level 5, and you're just coming out of level 2 and you're doing completely different types of tricks. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah. That was the first time I did PSO. I probably should have been in level 3, but I'm like, no, I can do an Aisha. 3,
Yeah.
was it 2 points of contact, level 4? And I'm like,
Yeah.
nope. But it was, yeah, good learning experience. But
Right.
I did the opposite of whatever sandbagging is
Yeah.
unintentionally.
Yes. And I think some people do it, well, unintentionally because they overestimate their capabilities and they just don't know because they haven't been there yet. I think
Hmm.
anybody who's been to PSO would go the other way. If it's your first one and
Yeah.
you've never been, you're like, oh, I could
Yep.
be level 3. And if you don't have a coach who really knows how it works to tell you, you should stick with level 2,
Yep.
or 3 versus 4, whatever. Yeah.
Yes. Totally agree.
Yeah. But well, live and learn. We all learn
Mhm.
as we go. So do you also perform for fun?
So, besides showcases and that one comedy poll show, no. I've never really done any performing for fun. I'm not saying I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm one of those people who is not very good at freestyle.
Okay.
And so I have to plan what I'm going to do. And that's actually kind of like maybe a poll goal in the future is to be better at freestyling and to do just, okay, let's, put on some music and just
Yeah.
dance and, look reasonably put together. But I am very much the opposite. So for what I call the haunted radio routine, I literally had a spreadsheet. I had a
Wow.
spreadsheet that had like the times and the music, the lyrics, what I was going to do,
Mhm.
why I was going to do it, what combo it was. I had that all written out. So that's like how my brain works. But in terms of stuff for the future, and especially actually after seeing the after hours part of the comedy
Yeah.
show, I was like, I really want to do more, just get better at just being able to get out there and have fun and look very smooth. I feel like
Mhm.
that's another goal of mine. That's not like
Mhm.
a natural way of moving for me. And so I was
Mhm.
just like, look at all these wonderful dancers, and they just look so fluid and smooth, and they're having a good time, and I want that.
Yeah. Well, that's a great goal because you have the technical skills. And I love how you described your process. I know I have friends, and that's how they also build routines for themselves. Maybe not the spreadsheets, not that
Yeah, that
far.
was pretty
It's
extreme.
almost like you're a scientist, Christina.
I know.
My process is very different. I come up with like the idea or the concept of what I want to do, not necessarily the combinations yet, but like the vibe, the music, how I want it to kind of appear. And then I start thinking about, okay, what trick combinations are going to be right for this?
Hmm.
Spin, static, floor, and then I start putting it together. I almost just freestyle in the beginning and then video it, and then I take a look at what seems to work and what feels good, and then I start writing it down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so it's the
I'm like,
opposite. You're like,
yes. I'm
oh,
like,
that would drive me crazy.
well, I like to do things that challenge me. And so eventually I would like to be better at that sort of thing. And
Yeah.
so to me,
Well,
it's
and I'd like to
inspiring.
be better at the other version too. I could use a little more structure, I think, around what I do because I'm pretty loosey goosey. Um, so as a polar who's been in it for 13 years, obviously, this is GenX Pole Arts. So many people listen to the podcast who are in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and either are polling or are thinking about starting pole. Have you noticed anything as an athlete and a polar as you've gotten older in the sport now that it's been over a decade for you in terms of
Um,
strength, flexibility, endurance, recovery?
oh, for me personally.
Yeah, for you personally.
Oh yeah. Well, running marathons for 8 years did a number on my knees.
Oh yeah.
So definitely, I want to say mid 30s on the injuries. Just injuries started creeping up from,
Mm,
new pole injuries or I got plantar fasciitis back in the day, so that sometimes rears its ugly head. And just, mentally, the older I get, the more like happy I am with the mental space that I am in. But physically, it's a little bit more like, okay, I definitely have to warm up more. I
Uh-huh.
100% have to warm up more. I have to work more on flexibility.
Hmm.
I don't know if that's necessarily age or just also a strength thing. Like
Yeah.
during the pandemic, I joined Dan Rosen's Pole Destroyers.
Yeah.
And
Love it.
so I think as a result of that, I got a lot stronger than I thought I would, a lot faster. And
Mm.
so that just the upper body flexibility really kind of took a hit on
Uh-huh.
that. And so I'm trying to do more flexibility. I'm trying to also not push myself, but be aware of, hey, this could lead to an injury. So I feel
Hmm.
like I'm a little bit more risk averse for my own health.
Hmm. Yep.
So for that's been, yeah, like mentally, I think I'm better prepared. I can think about things better. I can be less freaked out about stuff. But
Yeah.
physically, I do have to just, okay, you should really stretch some more.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm right there with you. The stretching, and then the flexibility is always, I've never been a super flexy person. I've always been reliant on my strength more
Hmm.
than anything. And now that I'm in my 50s, I find that I need to eat more protein. I supplement with creatine, and I lift weights. I mean, I always have. I've always worked out, but I have to continue to maintain the strength that always came so naturally to me. And flexibility, I have to stay on top of because, yeah, it feels like this all the strength stuff is kind of working against the flexibility, even though it takes strength to be flexible, like
Yeah.
active flexibility, right? You need to have the oppositional strength in those muscles, like to do the splits, for example. You need to
Yep.
have the hip flexors strong to pull that leg up. So and I think that's kind of why I keep going back and love it so much anyway. It's similar to when I was a runner. It gives me something to always be working towards, keeps me active. So I'm not
Yeah.
just
Oh.
going to the studio and getting on the pole. I have to do other stuff.
So it's interesting you mentioned lifting because so back in college, I was a thrower. So I did
Oh,
shot put, discus,
wow.
javelin, hammer. And so I loved being lifting weights, but I discovered that um, I will overdo it. And so another reason I did yoga and pole is because it was more reliant on just my body weight. And
Yeah,
I knew myself because I'm like, if I put too much extra weight, I will hurt myself.
yeah,
And so, so I kind of went the opposite way, like, oh, I know I'm going to hurt myself in a weight room.
yeah.
Um,
That's good that you have that awareness and you really understand your body and how your mind body connection, right? Because that's about how competitive you are with yourself. Like I could throw
oh,
another
yeah.
stack of weights on there. Sure, I could do it.
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah,
Yeah, pay for it for a long time. Yeah.
I love it. So thinking back to the competition, the world championship competition that you won, is there anything that stands out that you'd like to share about that experience, the travel, the people, the process, the day of, I don't know, for the rest
Um,
of us who've never done something like that, which is the far majority?
I mean, I think it was the second time I went,
Hmm.
and my partner came with me, and we were pretty prepared with, we'd already traveled to Italy once before because the previous time Worlds was in Italy too, so it wasn't a brand new thing. Um, I also discovered things like I'm a light sleeper, and and I mean, I during the pandemic, I also found out I'm pretty introverted, and
Uh-huh.
so the second time, just because of how I am, you know, we rented a car, we got separate rooms, We weren't in loud places.
Uh-huh.
I'm a very routine based person. So, I, before the competition started, I wanted to know where everything was,
Mm-hmm.
just have it planned out. Um, Otherwise, I felt pretty prepared. I think one of the keys to that competition is you have to write down all the moves you're going to do, and then you have to do them in that order and in whatever combination you've declared. And
Oh,
so
wow.
it's very much, this is the plan, and then you do exactly what the plan was.
Okay.
And so, I think that's a strength of mine. And so just the repetitions leading up to it with my coaches, and
Mhm.
just yeah, a lot of practice, just running it a lot.
Yeah. Amazing. And um, what is the actual event like? Like the organizers, do they coordinate your travel? How many people are at the competition? Does it feel kind of like a mini Olympics for aerial and pole? I'm trying to imagine.
So the two times I went, they seemed fairly different venues. So one
Okay.
was in like a large volleyball auditorium, and
Okay.
then the next one was in a very large tent. It
Okay.
was a very nice heated tent.
Hmm.
So I think it just depends on what they have available. So for instance, in this last time I went, which was in the tent, there wasn't a ton of seating,
Mm.
but people were pretty packed.
Mm.
Whereas when we were in the auditorium, there may have been the same number of people. I can't really guess how
Sure.
many. It wasn't like a packed stadium or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there were, I mean, I think what surprised me was there's just so much pole for so many days, and everybody already knows pole, and they do
Yeah.
aerial as well.
Uh-huh.
So, they'll also do hoop, and they'll also do silks, and I believe sling.
Uh-huh.
Um, but people are doing these cool routines, but there's just so many. I don't know how many people they run a day, and
Wow.
so people kind of, I think, don't always pay attention
Hmm.
because there's just so much pole.
Yeah, that's overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's too much. That's really cool. Um, I think. And how do you know how many countries are represented approximately?
Oh, um,
How big is our
I will.
pole army?
Well,
Are we
well,
everywhere?
the U.S. pole army is not very big. I would say
Yeah.
we're like a medium to maybe even medium small size team.
Okay.
I want to say that we definitely have more than 10 countries. I don't know if we have more than 20.
Okay.
Uh, so those would be my guesses.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe not definite. I'm pretty sure it's more than 10. But yeah, that's like the feeling I get is
Yeah.
like, I don't know, 16-ish,
Okay.
maybe 20, something like that.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm just trying to get an idea of scale, I think, for the listeners too, who maybe aren't involved in pole, to understand that this, because obviously I'm in LA, and many of my guests are in LA, and I want people to understand this is not a Los Angeles or a California bubble that we're
Mm,
talking about. It's not only in the US, but it's worldwide. And, your experience is proof of that, right? You competed amongst competitors from many other countries. You were in Europe doing it. You weren't even in this
mhm.
country. And yeah, I hope to see it become an Olympic sport. I, I, it seems to me a very logical addition, especially when you think of, like, they had the break dancing, which, we all know that kind of maybe got ruined by one or two competitors, but I think it was pretty well received. And then of course we have the extreme sports and the
Mhm.
skateboarding and all that stuff. So this just feels like it's in the same vein as that. And parkour, I don't think they put parkour in the Olympics, but that's also very similar. I feel like there's a lot of crossover with parkour and aerial and pole.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I see on Instagram a lot of these. They tend to be guys, and they tend to be Eastern European, I think, for the most
Hmm.
part, who are polers, but they are throwing like parkour moves on the pole. It's really
Oh,
interesting, and they're doing it in sneakers and baggy pants and stuff. They got the pole. I
yeah,
don't know.
that would make sense. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I love how it's turning into taking a lot of different paths, and people are interpreting how to use this apparatus, which seems like such a simple thing. It's just a metal pole standing there. And we decide to do all these funky things with it.
Yes.
And it's life changing and life affirming.
I
It's
would agree.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, right? So
Hmm.
weird. Well, I loved learning about you and your experience, and we're coming up on time. So I'm just wondering, is there anything else you'd like to say before we leave?
Um, I mean, I think one thing I just love about pole in general
Mhm.
is it's as a result of just even doing showcases or competing, I've gone out and done things that are related to it that I would have never done. So I had to learn how to, put rhinestones on my own costumes.
Yep.
I generally never wear makeup, but like I've learned, I'm like, okay, if you're on stage, people
Yeah.
need to see your face.
Yes.
And so, I'm like, okay, now I own some lipstick. Like I've never done that before. I started taking regular dance. That was
Yeah.
not a thing I ever would have dreamed of doing, but I'm taking
Hmm.
regular dance now, and I see that that is very helpful,
Yeah.
and that's a wonderful community too. So it just made me just just all these ancillary things that I would have just never done or never tried if it hadn't
Mhm.
been for um, getting involved in performing or competing in pole.
Yeah, I love that. I also recently started taking regular dance.
Yes.
I have
What?
air
How do you
quotes
say?
for
Yeah.
anyone who's not watching the video, regular dance. Because I am awkward on my feet, which is why I do well with the apparatus because
Yes.
I don't have to rely on just my feet holding me up on the ground. So the hoop and the pole like save me from being completely awkward. But I agree with you. It's really helping with body awareness. It helps with lines on the pole, and just the presence, and yeah, the fluidity, like you were
Hmm.
saying
Oh
earlier.
yeah.
Yeah, it helps a lot with that. So
Yep.
yay, I'm proud of us. We're like these
Yeah.
athlete runner girls who've gone and now we're doing this.
Yeah. It's been a wild ride.
Yeah. I mean, you are inspiring to me, like to see all of your success is really, it's really cool. And I'm glad to hear, this is like my own selfish ego thing. I'm glad to hear you've been doing it as long as you have. Cause then I feel like, oh, okay, if I was doing it 13 years, I might be closer to your level, because I'm not anywhere near your level of tricks. Yeah, no. I wish. I'm working on it, but I'm not there. But I have only been doing it for about almost 5 years. So,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't. I think when was I didn't. Yeah, the first time I competed was when I'd been doing pole for 5 years. That was
okay.
the first time I competed.
All right. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Not that I'm comparing myself, but we all do a little bit. It's like, oh, I should be further along. I should have
Oh
more
man.
tricks.
It takes me a long time to learn. It takes me a very long time to learn tricks. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take some lessons from you and your method and your process, and I'm going to try to be a little bit more structured in how I'm learning things and putting things together. So, thank you for being here.
happy
Is
to
it,
be here.
yeah, is it okay if I put your Instagram in the show notes so people can follow you?
How I'm not 100% sure about that.
Okay.
So,
All right.
um,
Fair.
yeah, maybe not.
Okay.
I
That's
mean, maybe we'll
absolutely
cut
fair.
this part.
Absolutely fair. Absolutely fair. But if anybody wants to ask a question of Christina, you can put it in the comments section um, of the podcast, of the stream on Spotify or Apple or Amazon, wherever you're watching or listening, and I'll make sure she gets your questions. So until next time, what?
I'm wondering,
Yes.
maybe I should, maybe we can add, you know what? Just because of there are various reasons, it might be good to just leave it out.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. If
Okay.
somebody wants to get in touch with you or ask you questions, they can go through me and I'll get it to you. And then you can
Okay.
decide. Yeah, we don't have
Thank
to.
you.
I respect everybody's privacy. Pole is still stigmatized in a lot of ways, unfortunately, and we're working to get
Yeah.
through that. But until we do, we have to live in the real world. So it's all
Yeah.
it's all good. No problem.
Yep. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here. I wish we had more time. Maybe we'll do a follow-up. Do you have any competitions coming up?
So I'm going to Budapest in December to try and defend my title.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I'm getting ready for that. Um, yeah, that's the next thing, and
All
then
right.
I'm hoping that next year is a little bit more recovery year.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, I wish you the absolute very best of luck and good grip. And I know you don't need it. You're going to go and you're going to blow them away. But
Oh,
yeah, maybe we can have a follow up in the beginning of the year next year and hear about your experience in Budapest.
oh well,
That would
thank you.
be
Yeah, that'd
cool.
be fun. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully it goes well. Thank you.
Yeah, it will. I'm sure of it. All right. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate you being here. And for everybody listening, thank you for listening. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of Fit, Fierce, and Fearless, powered by GenX Pole Arts. I hope you feel inspired by the incredible stories of strength and resilience that we shared today. Remember, it's never too late to embrace your potential and unleash your passion. If you enjoyed this episode, please, I would appreciate it if you would take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave me a review. Your support really helps me to continue to uplift and empower women over 40 in our pole dance community and beyond. Don't forget to connect with me on social media for more inspiration and updates. I'd love to hear your stories and share in your journey. So until next time, keep dancing, keep shining, and remember that your strength knows no age.